Hi guys, I've dropped into my shed studio and I'm joined by YouTuber and music professional Liam Taylor. How's it going, Liam?
Hey Richard, thanks for having me back. I'm really good. How are you?
Well, as you know, on this show, I do the topics in order to do a bit of therapy and get things off my chest. Mm-hmm. The guests I bring on, I mean, I know I say it's all about the online content creation, but really they're here to help me with the admin of my own life. My kids have been getting into instruments in the last couple of years. You yourself, you're a music professional. Tell us a little bit about what you do in schools with music.
So my day job is supporting a music faculty in a pretty hot music department. So my job can vary between teaching students one-on-one. So my specialization is guitar, so I do a little bit of bass as well. I can do basics of keyboards and drums as well if I have to. So I do a lot of one-on-one tuition with kids, and then quite a lot of studio production as well. So all of these students have got to use Pro Tools software or Sibelius scoring software to do their coursework, and that's not made for kids. So it's a lot of work trying to get handy with the software. So that takes up an awful lot of my time.
So basically, you're the grumpy studio tech who also does a bit of teaching.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're in that situation that you've got to listen to kids playing musical instruments, whether they want to or not. So at least in my household, we've got now enthusiastic kids. Well, actually, I'll come on to that a bit later, and who have a bit of motivation to play. But you're in an environment where 30 kids, willing or otherwise, get shoved into a studio. I mean, that must drive you nuts.
I've found that, because one of my many other projects is reviewing independent music, and I found that my gauge of what is objectively good music has lowered ever so slightly ever since working with kids. So I have to think, oh, this is really good. It's like, is it really good, or would it be really good for a 13-year-old? I guess it's not that good. So it's tricky. Like, I have had to reevaluate actually what I think good music is, which sounds really horrible.
Oh no, look, we went and saw a middle school lately, and when we went to the music department, the teacher had got out a load of trombones and various other instruments and like whatever, some penny whistle kind of thing. The racket was unbearable. And I just said to this lady at the end, I said, how do you do this without going mad? And I think her answer was something along the lines of, I'm not sure I have done it without going mad.
Yeah, music teachers are pretty mental, actually. I say this as one of them, and I say this with love and respect for the music teachers I work with. They are completely nuts. I think just being around that kind of cacophony will just drive you insane very quickly. Trying to work out in my brain what's worse, and I'm sure you can help me. Maybe a room full of 20 plus kids who don't really want to be there, sort of half-heartedly making any noise, or a room full of 1 or 2 kids who think they're really properly getting it but still making a horrendous noise. I'm not sure which I'd prefer. No offense to your kids, I'm sure they're very talented.
No,
but
you bring up a really good point, because my wife does, I shouldn't have said my wife, someone I know,
perfect,
runs a vocal school, and of course there are varying stages of learning amongst the vocalists, and part of the performance though is being super confident, but every now and then you'll get someone who is super confident but just has not grasped singing yet. So of course that does happen. I would always prefer the enthusiastic kid over the one who's sort of mucking about and not taking it seriously.
I think I'll agree with you there, absolutely.
But what I wanted to sort of really use you for was there'll be a lot of parents and grandparents out there, especially with Christmas coming up, who have seen the John Lewis advert and realised that to make their kid Elton John, they just have to buy an instrument. People didn't realise it was that easy until John Lewis told us.
That's all you've got to do is buy the instrument, and the rest will just fall into place.
I'll just tell you a little bit about where my kids are at. My boy, he's 8, and he's just started playing piano. So he's not Elton John, and I don't know if he ever will be. But because it's in our house, though, it's a no-brainer, because my wife is a piano teacher and a singer and a performer. I told him if he leaves this house at 18, he's like, what? I've got to leave the house at 18? Yep, you've got to leave the house at 18. Without knowing how to play the piano, I said it would be a crime. But for any parents out there who haven't got the kids going on it yet, now that he can actually sit and accompany people and play in assembly and stuff, I'm hard pushed to think of a better gift you can give a kid than teaching them to play an instrument.
Yeah, completely. And good on you for doing it, and good on you for managing to get him into it at 8 that's really impressive, especially if he's playing with other people. And I think that's the communal aspect of music is one that we tend to forget if we're stuck in our bedroom just making crummy drum and bass all evening. You can forget that music should be a communal thing.
But it's too late when you get to my age, 38. Now, I've had a crack in the last 10 years of trying to learn instruments, and it feels like complete witchcraft. It feels like a different language, but my son can now look at a piece of music he's never seen before and translate that into sounds. I've said to him, you've got a secret code that I will never be able to unlock.
I was a reasonably late starter to music. I think I had piano and violin lessons when I was really small, but then I only found guitar when I was kind of 16, 17, and then sort of 13 years from that became a career option. But I think the way I managed to do that was because I stayed inspired and I kept finding new styles of music or new players, and some of that was YouTube as well, finding visually impressive things.
All right, well, we'll find out, as well as some practical tips, what we can do to motivate and jumpstart kids who might be a little bit on the fence about learning music. So if you're happy to hang around while we play a couple of songs, we'll get onto that. You happy to stick around?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
And I'm still here with YouTuber and music professional Liam Taylor. Now, before the break, I asked Liam how we can inspire kids who are a little bit on the fence about getting into music. You know, do you have any kind of inspiring words you say to kids?
You've got to find out what they're into, and that sounds obvious, but it's worth stating. What music are they into? Who is actually playing that music? Who is popular? The answer to most of those questions for the last 2 years has been Ed Sheeran. So what I found I usually will do is say, what kind of music are you into? Oh, I like that Ed Sheeran guy. You probably don't know him because you're old. It's like, I'm 29. That's rude of you. I know Ed Sheeran. And then you work out how this kid can play Ed Sheeran. And actually, a lot of the time, it's pretty simple. You just find a chord chart online, and then you maybe have to transpose some of the chords into something the student will actually be able to play. And then there's a little bit of work convincing them, no, you are actually playing an Ed Sheeran song. That's all he's doing. And then you've got to get them to listen to it and realize, oh, this thing that I can already do with my hands is actually what Ed Sheeran's doing. It's just that he's been doing it for years and has got a cute face.
And also, it's an important lesson to tell kids that it's not all about looks, and you can look kind of weird and still be a pop star.
Yeah, totally.
But say, for my little daughter's point of view, she's really not interested in getting into a musical instrument at all. But I've managed to sort of persuade her that if she wants the glory of being the vocalist, really, she should be able to back that up with a little bit of musical knowledge. There's a lot of vocalists out there who are only interested in the singing, and they don't have that kind of core musical sustenance, if you like. You're
really shooting yourself in the foot if you're a vocalist, but you don't have any background of instrumental knowledge. And I'm not saying that you have to be as good a guitar player as you are a vocalist, but you've certainly got to know how chords work and how music theory works. And having been in bands for years and having worked with singers in all kinds of different styles, the most difficult and the most tedious singers to work with are the ones who will just sort of turn up and sing, and then you try to give them any level of direction and they don't understand what you're talking about. Yeah. They look at you like you're talking some completely foreign language because they just don't understand the music terminology.
She is desperate to be a little YouTuber. And
who isn't? It's great.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yes, brilliant being a YouTuber. Isn't it great working for free a lot of the time? But because we've got the Shed Studio here, we've got a green screen and everything. So I've, recorded her doing Annie. And I said to her, look, if you really do want to make these kind of YouTube videos, why not pick up an instrument? And I showed her some videos of people playing online with banjos and ukuleles. And she was suddenly like, oh, okay then. So you're right. By finding the thing that they're into and interested in, you can trick them into learning this wonderful thing. So she's gone for banjo. Have we made an okay choice there?
You've made an excellent choice. I think you alluded to it earlier that the obvious choice for a YouTube musician is the ukulele. So actually, you've already given her an amazing advantage there that not many people will be playing the banjo.
What is the difference between a ukulele and a banjo? They look quite similar.
So the banjo is the one that looks like its body is a drum. And it looks like if you hit it with a stick, it would go snap and make a drum noise. A ukulele, if you hit it with a stick, would just kind of go click.
Can I tell you how ignorant I am?
Go on.
So I put on a YouTube video that showed you how to kind of do the basics of it so my daughter could play along. She started playing the thing going ding, ding, ding. She went, Dad, it doesn't sound the same. And I'm like, sounds exactly the same. Like,
was it out of tune?
Well, no, she goes, yeah, she suggested maybe it's out of tune. My son, who's 8 and quite into this stuff, walks past and goes, Dad, that's a guitar. So we'd not picked the banjo up in the end. We'd picked up a little guitar, so we had to go back and get the banjo.
I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed by that.
It's difficult for little kids because they see somebody playing the banjo or ukulele or something so well. And as Eddie Izzard put it so well, they're basically playing snug as a bug in a rug instead. It's a long journey keeping them motivated to get to the promised Elton John land.
If she's like any child or any music student, she will struggle with trying to do 20 minutes of practice a day. I still struggle doing 20 minutes of practice a day because I've got a job and food and I've got to do my own washing and stuff.
Oh, and you're faffing around on the radio, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing all this fun stuff. For your specific situation, why not try to get her to document the process of learning the instrument as a YouTube video?
Ooh!
Is your mind blown slightly there?
She will love that.
Right? And again, because she's doing banjo, which isn't... There's probably some people doing banjo tutorials, but no one's going to be doing a banjo, learn with me, learn how to play this instrument while I learn it. Hey guys, I learned how to play the G chord today. Isn't that the coolest thing in the world? Here's a new thing to my repertoire. There you go. Have that one for free.
I love it. You've genuinely solved an admin problem. And so far, the station haven't realised that this is what I use the guests for. But look, I mean, this is why I come to you guys. There's such a wealth of talent out in podcast, YouTube and blogger land. I love bringing it here onto BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. Liam Taylor, it's been an absolute joy to talk to you once again.
Thanks so much.
Where can people find your YouTube channel? I mean, I find you by searching Liam Taylor Guitar on YouTube.
As far as I know, I'm the most subscribed Liam Taylor Guitar on YouTube. There's also the Stab Panda music blog that I write for, and I reference a lot of the stuff that I do there as well, or just Twitter at LT Guitarist.
Liam Taylor, thanks so much for hanging around. I hope you'll be here in the new year.
Absolutely. Cheers.